Hello and welcome. Hi there. Welcome replay viewers. We're here to talk about the 5 biggest mistakes that graphic and web designers and other creative service providers make in their business when they're looking to get new clients. Is that something that is of interest to you? Give me some hearts if so. So let me just share this out and then I'm going to introduce myself and we can start getting into this. So just bear with me one moment and we can get this going. Okay, so please share this out as well. I'm really passionate about helping creative service providers to have the life and business of their dreams. And if they're making these mistakes, it is going to absolutely be putting the kibosh on that altogether. Okay, so what are the 2 trends then that are affecting people who are looking to grow their business in the creative services? So one thing is that nowadays everybody is a marketer. If you have a smartphone, then you have got the availability of apps. There's all sorts of softwares, then tools that people can use to do their own designs, to create their own websites, to do their own photography and videography. Look at me, I'm going live. This just wouldn't actually have been possible years ago. So these are things that really have an impact on your business, because all of a sudden, because I can do stuff from my phone, the fact that I can do it kind of in people's mindsets, it can make it less valuable. Okay, so what this trend means is that the work that you do has become less valuable in other people's eyes. So I'm going to talk about how this shows up in people's mistakes. Now, I'm not saying that people could do things as well as you can. I know for sure that if you're any good at what you do, and I'm sure you are, that what you would find is that people they kind of do things to a certain level, but they're never going to have, they haven't got the same training that you have. They haven't got the experience and the expertise, but they don't necessarily see things that way for themselves, okay? All right, so the second trend is that increasing competitions. Now you have got, like, if you're doing something like graphic design or web design, even some kind of photography, it might not matter where your location is. Same with some videography as well. I recently had a video production company that's in Canada talking to me about, well, how could they import into the UK because of the exchange rate and it being a lot more favourable there. So these are some of the things that you can that you're up against, in that you might have spent a long time getting trained to do what you do, but what about all the people in, other countries that might not have done that? Yes, they are there and they can be very cheap. They have a completely different standard of living. So I know that you're probably aware of this, but maybe you haven't felt like, well, what could you actually do in the meantime, okay? Because your investment in your training, in your equipment, in your software, and the experience that you have is now being commoditized and put up against other people who may not be able to do the job that you can, but because they're cheaper and they're all over the internet, then that can cause a problem for you in bringing new clients on. It just makes it harder. I think it contributes to overwhelm as well. And I think this is a big contributor to creative service providers not making as much as they can. Now, so what are the 5 mistakes then that you need to stop making? So I'm going to go through those and then we'll talk at the end, well, what is it that you could do to actually to do instead, basically, so that you're not having this situation. Okay, so big mistake number 1, all right, not charging enough because of fear. Now, I work through my coaching clients and even when I'm showing them the way to raise their prices and what they need to do and what we need to put in place, there is always, every single one, it doesn't matter how confident they may be, when it comes to raising the prices, then things come up for them. And these things could be, I've oh, I'm a people pleaser. And so I want people to say, yes, I want them to be happy. And therefore you could be sabotaging yourself with your prices. It could be a fear of failure. It could be a fear of being judged. Maybe you're worried that some people will think that they're ripping you, you're trying to rip them off. I mean, let me tell you, if you're concerned about people thinking that you're ripping them off, you're not going to rip them off, because the only people who would rip other people off don't really care about that, okay? So there's lots of different kinds of specific fears that can be going on that can stop people from charging what they ought to be charging. So the thing is that you've got to focus on doing the right things in terms of the way you get out there and present your work, and we'll talk a bit more about that. But you've got to do the inner work as well. All right. Now, in the last couple of years, I've doubled my prices twice. So I doubled them, and then I doubled them again from the new ones, and I'm planning to put them up again next year. So the thing is that whenever you think, oh, I couldn't possibly put them up, the chances are you probably could. It's all about the way that you do it, but you've got to address that fear first in order to make it really work. Okay, so we've got fear. Fear equals false expectations appearing real. Yes, absolutely. So much of the time when my clients put their prices up and they're going to their clients, so kind of new clients that are coming in and they're putting these new prices to them because of the way we're doing it, the clients are just going, yes, okay, yeah, we'll go with it. And they're not even necessarily coming up against negotiation. I mean, it does depend slightly on the industry. There are some industries that are more prone to negotiate than others. But the thing is that when you've got that solid ground and you have that, it's really about setting boundaries within yourself about, oh, hang on a second, this is what this value is, and this is a fair price for it. And you've got to believe that. So please work, if this is an issue for you, please, you've got to work on this. Do the inner work to have the self-belief. Do the inner work to be able to be comfortable with being rejected. I'm not saying you're ever going to love it, but at least you've got to accept that, when somebody says no, then they're obviously not the right client for you. So, okay, let's have a look at big mistake number 2. So this is going with the flow too much. Now you might be thinking, how can that be a mistake, Una? You're all about flow. I mean, just earlier today, I did a live stream about that. And the thing is that when you go with the flow too much, though, then that means there's a lack of structure in the way that you're running your business. There's a lack of structure around your time. There's a lack of structure in the way that you handle new clients. In fact, just yesterday, I was working with a client and they realized, oh, right, every time I have a new client, I completely reinvent the wheel. So here's what I would say is save your creativity for where it matters and bring the structure that you need into the way that you work. Now, you might be thinking, oh God, either I don't have the time to do this, or I don't want to do this. I want to be free. This is part of me, being creative. That, I kind of just do things. I'm very intuitive and I just do things at the spur of the moment. But you can be intuitive and still have structure. So, like, one of the ways I do that is, so back here, I've got a couch in my office, and every morning, this is my meditation spot. So I journal and I meditate and I let, my intuition kind of come in and ideas. And sometimes I have loads of ideas. I kind of, but then you've got to do something with those things. So whatever it is that you're getting is best to be working on. That's got to fit into some structure, or else the danger is you're going to start loads of things and then never finish them. Or you'll have so many ideas that you could do. You'll create them in your mind, but never make them a reality. Okay, you could actually spend so much time analysing them and dreaming about them and thinking about them that it feels real, but it isn't real unless it's actually showing up in your business, okay? Unless you're actually getting to do that work with those clients, whatever it is that you are thinking about. So I know it might seem counterintuitive that flow, isn't about, oh, I'll just do what I feel like it when I feel like it, but actually it isn't. It's following your path of least resistance. It's focusing on the right tasks and activities that suit you, your natural strengths and your personality. So it's not about going, oh, shiny new object, oh, shiny new object. Or it's also not about going, oh, right, this person over here is successful and they've got what I want, so I'm going to do what they did. Well, what if their natural strengths are different from yours? Okay, that could really end up being a problem for you. So put a structure in place in terms of, well, where do you add the most value? What are the tasks and activities you need to be doing? How do you actually manage those tasks? Do you just do things on the spur of the moment but forget half the things that you're meant to do? Are you using your calendar properly? Do you have a task management system? Do you have some kind of a framework? There's another thing I work on with my clients is a weekly flow framework. So they know, okay, these are the kinds of activities that I'm doing at this, in these times. And you can be flexible. If your week requires that to be different, then you can change it. But at least that structure is there. It's something to change, okay? Rather than, it's actually forcing you to make choices. This is kind of like me going for an audition, right? Now, I just realised, have I introduced myself properly? I'm not sure if I have. So if you don't know me, my name is Una Doyle. I'm the founder of CreativeFlow.tv, and I work with service-based entrepreneurs in creative roles, such as web and graphic design, photography, videography, etc. And I help them to confidently and profitably stand out from the crowd and be able to do creative work that fills their heart with pride. Okay, is that something that you like? Make sure to give some hearts. So the thing is that when you what was I saying? Oh yes, I'm also an actor. So that's what I was coming back to. I'm also an actor as well. And when I go for an audition, it's impossible for the director to redirect me if I haven't actually made choices. Now, I could make the wrong choices as far as they're concerned. With the information I have, I've got to make choices. But then they're looking at it from a different perspective, and they might go, oh, right, okay, well, look, I want you to do it this way. I want you to focus more on this, or, oh, here's an aspect to this person's character, this character's personality that maybe I didn't know just from the script, etc. And so then I can change it, I can flex with it. But it's exactly the same with how you structure your time. It doesn't have to feel like, oh, I'm in this straitjacket and this is horrible. I have to do this at 9:10 and I have to do this at 11 o'clock and I have to do this at 3 o'clock. It doesn't have to be like that. So, you can work flexibly with the way that you have, but it is an important thing to do. Okay, big mistake number 3. Your offer and or your positioning sucks. Okay, I know that's quite blunt, but the thing is that time and time again, so I use LinkedIn a lot, okay, to connect with people who might be interested in working with me. And, when I'm arranging to get on a call with somebody, I ask them for their website and social profiles, and I go and look at them. I do spend the time before we speak, where possible, to see what are they presenting to the world. And I would say 8 or 9 times out of 10, what I'm seeing is a menu list of, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. And everything is all about them. There's nothing there about their customer, okay? Or why somebody would want to be, connecting with you. And that partly makes you a commodity, okay? If you're not standing for something, then you're just the same as everybody else. And when that happens, people make a decision based on price. Okay, so you've got to get really clear on what is the problem that you are solving for which particular type of person or type of business. Okay, you have to get really specific about it. And a lot of the time when I first start working with people on this, they'll say things like, oh, but I could lose out on opportunities. Trust me, that's not going to happen. Okay, even though my focus is on working with creative service providers, I actually have other creatives work with me as well. I've worked with an author, I've worked with a t-shirt provider, I've worked with other coaches and consultants sometimes as well, because they're creatively minded and they can see they have the same challenges. But they come to me. If you're trying to market being all things to all people, you're not a big brand like, you know, Coca-Cola or Pepsi or McDonald's, or, you know what I mean? Like one of these big global brands that they've got multiple marketing teams in every country, not even just in their head office. You're probably one person or maybe two or three in partnership. How could you possibly do the same extent of marketing as a massive company that has got multiple products or services in you know, to multiple audiences? So if you're not already at the level where you have got a team, then you've got to focus on one thing. And it doesn't mean that that's the only thing you'll ever do. It just means that that's where you're going to focus your marketing. And when you do that, then people become really clear about, well, what do you stand for? Like, I'm getting known for helping people to raise their prices. I'm helping them to double and even triple their prices when they start working with me. And that's something that I'm getting out there, because for a start, I just, you know, it really hurts me when I see creatives not getting paid appropriately for what they're doing, you know, and to see them struggling, or even where, okay, yeah, we're paying all the bills, but, you know, what's next? How can I possibly move forward? So this is the thing, is that you've got to get really focused on what the challenge is that you're helping your client with. And talk about that. Talk about their problem. Help them to see the problem that they have. Okay? It's not really about you. When you do that, then they'll want to know how you can help them. Okay? So, yeah, and just, you know, if you're not clear on this, then how can you get known for something when you're trying to do everything? It's just not possible. Okay, big mistake number 4. Having an ad hoc or non-existent sales process. Now, you might think, I think some people are under the impression that when you, if you have a sales process and you're kind of thinking about things in that way, that makes you, that it means you're going to be pushy or salesy or something like that. And actually, it couldn't be further from the truth, because when you have the right kind of sales process in place, and a sales process is simply a series of steps, but when you have that in place, then you're not pushy or salesy, because it's all about saying, is this right for this person? Is this right for me? Are we a good fit? And it makes it very natural, okay, that you have one kind of step, and then, you know, they're invited to another, and if they're interested, then they do that. And then, you know, maybe you get some sort of feedback, and then you go on to the next step. And if you do this right, you actually will be earning money as part of your sales process, even before people become a full client with you. So I've got clients now that are charging just under £400 and £500 to get their clients, okay, where they, because they've been able to increase their prices, and it helps you make that conversion, right? It helps your prospective clients to feel secure in your hands, because you're clear and you're guided, and you're not kind of going, oh, I don't really know what to do next, and you don't know how to ask for the sale. And you're waiting for them to ask you, and most of the time that isn't going to happen. They're expecting you to guide you through this process. They're expecting you, the expert, to help them see what they need, and what's going to be the best solution for them. And if you don't have, you know, a proper sales process around that, then it just makes it a lot harder. It really does, because you've got to make sure that the sales process clearly demonstrates the value that you add. Okay? It clearly demonstrates how you're going to solve their problem or help them achieve their aspiration. And you've got to do that without giving away the farm, right? So, and here's one of the things that's also really good about having a proper sales process, is that you don't feel pressured, and therefore your client doesn't either. If you're kind of scrambling around and reinventing the wheel and doing everything from scratch every time, then you're probably going to feel a bit, oh, okay, now I'm in front of this client, I'm not quite sure, what do we do next? Then that's going to make your client feel uncertain, or it might cause you to to feel pressure, and then they'll pick up on that vibe and feel pressure too. Okay, so big mistake number 5. This is when you don't have enough leads. Okay, leads are like the oxygen for your business. And if you don't get enough in front of enough people who could be your ideal clients, then how can you increase your sales? How can you get new clients if you're not getting in front of enough people? And I think the temptation for those of us who are more creative is to keep going, oh, I'm going to create more things, or I really need to upgrade my equipment. I remember there was one person that I worked with who was about to spend £3,000 on new equipment. In fact, I think it was new hardware. And when I was talking through things with them, they didn't have enough clients to make the fact that their machine wasn't running as fast really a problem. Okay. Now, when they had kind of tripled their client base, then it would start to become a problem, and then they would have the money to do it rather than putting it on a credit card, when they didn't even have the money to do that. And I think it's really tempting. I see this with coaches and consultants all the time, that they think, oh, well, I'll do this other qualification. Oh, I'll learn this technique. And they spend loads of money and time making them a better coach. But actually, they still have no clear understanding of who their clients are and what problem they're solving for them. So you've got to spend the time and put some structures in place to have enough people to get in front of. And I think this can be challenging for creatives because we're naturally good at creating. And usually when it comes to lead generation, it's less about creation. I mean, it can be content marketing, doing live streams like what I'm doing now. This is creation, but you also have to share it. Okay, and so it's the sharing and the getting in front of people. It's the direct approach as well. Like getting clients online can take time. And if you don't already have an audience that you've built up, and you might have a big audience, but you're just not asking. Okay, so when you've got the right sales process in place, then it makes it easier to ask people to kind of step into that. And if you don't have a big enough audience, you need to build that audience. And I would say, one of the fastest ways to get new clients is to directly approach people. And I don't mean spam them. Okay, I definitely do not mean spam them, but I just mean that you can reach out and get to know people and find out what their problems are. Okay, so the thing is that stop creating new things, stop doing new ideas if you don't have enough leads, because who are you going to share them with? Instead, focus on, well, what are the ways that you would have fun attracting new leads, new prospects to you? Okay, and that is going to really help you. Okay, so one of the things that you can do is instead of doing all this, I want you to think about creating a client attraction and conversion system. And this is something I've been focused on working with clients on. And I think it's just so important, because when you have got this in place, everything else just kind of works so much better, right? And this is where if you've recognized one or more of these mistakes, then I have a program that can help you to stop making these mistakes and to put this client attraction and conversion system in place so that you can create a thriving business, so that you can attract ideal clients, profitable clients, ones that will act on your advice because they're listening to you, because they view you as an expert. They treat you like royalty. They're not being over demanding. Okay. And I want to help 5 more designers or similar service providers to go from making less than 5k a month to making at least 10 to 20 or more k per month within the next 6 to 12 months. And if you want to increase your sales like this, and he'd like to hear what's stopping you, because it might be one of these mistakes, or maybe it might be something else. I've set aside some time where we can talk about this, where we can talk about, well, what are you looking to achieve? We can talk about, what is getting in your way with that. And it's a free 20-minute consultation. So I've just popped the link in the comment, so you can go and check that out. And because the thing is, my clients are now doubling, and in some cases even tripling their prices and therefore their revenues. When you put this client attraction and conversion in place, where you are bringing yourself into your business in a way that you maybe never have before, where you're really focusing on your strengths, where you have got a really compelling offer because you're so clear on who it is that is your ideal client. And this is more than just about having a client avatar. This is about really getting to understand them and what it is that they want and they're prepared to pay for, and what problem they really want solved. And that allows you to have something that people really want then. And you've got to put the sales funnel in place. You've got to put the lead generation strategies in place. And you can do all this in working with me in the ways that suit you best, because of me using personality profiling as well. So it's always about building your business and learning how to run it in the way that suits you best. Okay, there is no one size fits all, and I think that is really important. So you want to, if you want to be less stressed, one client spouse, they told me that my client is less stressed. They're actually playing with the children more. They're less grumpy. They're just having more fun because of, putting the work that we've done in putting this client attraction and conversion engine in place. And also because I'm working with them on their ways of working. And another client told me they were able to be way more creative because they no longer had these little niggles about, oh, I must remember to do this, or I must remember to do that. Because things were more organized, they actually were freer to be more creative, in that creative time. The thing is that when, if you want your business to grow, then you've got to do things differently. And you might be thinking, well, I haven't got time to do this, or is now the right time? But in working with people, number one, I'm helping them free up their time so they can do this work. And the second thing is, the right time is always yesterday. If you have got some big plans or you're working on some big projects, how do you know if they're even the best things that you ought to be doing right now? Okay, because I'm going to help you to make sure that you're taking the best steps for you. Okay, and the best steps for you right now might not be what you're planning. Maybe you're trying to run before you can walk, or maybe you're still rehashing things that you used to do, but now you need to be moving up to a new level, right? So, thank you so much for watching this. And if you enjoyed this free content, look, I go into so much more depth in the Creative Success Code, which is the program I've been talking about. And by the end of completing that program, you will have probably increased your prices, as nearly everybody I meet, needs to. You'll have this client attraction conversion system, engine in place, so that that is happening, and you're bringing in those bread and butter clients, that you're working with a higher caliber of clients. You've got great boundaries in place, that you're no longer undercharging and over delivering. Okay, this is really important, and you'll be working in your business in ways that allow you to be more creative and to have more free time, and to be less stressed. Okay, because you're going to be in flow in a more structured way while still having the freedom and creativity that you want. Because the last thing I want to do is to try and turn somebody into what they're not. It is completely about you becoming more of who you are. So click the link in the comments to have a chat with me. And, I guarantee you, I'm only going to invite you to the next step if I genuinely believe I can help you, and if you're interested. And at the very least, you're going to go away with at least one tip, strategy or insight about your situation to help you move forward. And look, I don't mind doing this right now. I've set aside some time at the moment. This isn't always going to be available, this free call, so don't wait. Book it now. The link is in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you very, very soon. All right, take care. Bye.